Hi folks, it's Dr. E and I'm here with a syllabus video that just kind of walks through some of the different areas of your syllabus, but of course I'm not going to read everything line by line because how boring, but also it's just so much information that you really need to take some time to sit down with it and kind of digest it piece by piece. Don't sit and try to understand absolutely every single thing in one sitting. It's just like reading a book chapter. Sometimes you got to take breaks and make sure that this is something that you refer back to throughout the summer session, because this is really meant to be a tool for you, a tool that just gives you kind of a quick glance at the course if you have some immediate questions, right? So if you have a question about grades, if you have a question about just where to go in terms of Lone Star College in general, there's a lot of hyperlinks here. There's a lot of information that can be helpful, and I've tried to set it up with a table of contents that's pretty easy to click around and utilize. All right, so you have all my contact information here, so make sure that, again, you save this somewhere, have it ready when you need it. Note that I don't necessarily have an office location, but I'm happy to meet you at our University Park campus if you want to have a face-to-face meeting, but there will also be online student success hours, and that's via WebEx, or if you want to schedule a time outside of these, which is absolutely fine. I know a lot of you work and have a ton of responsibilities, or you're not local, we can definitely do Zoom or WebEx outside of these times. All right, all the course information. I don't want any of you to freak out. Some of you are enrolled in section 9001, some of you in 9002. In D2L, it probably all looks like 9001. So if you're in the second section, don't worry, you're in the right place. D2L is just merging those sections, so don't worry. All right. So here is a quick glance at all of the important dates for the summer session. It is a 6-week course, of course. So if you are new to the summer session pace, it is definitely something to consider because we will be moving very quickly. But these are the dates to keep in mind. And then, of course, we get into specifics of our class. So we have the catalog description about what we're aiming to do and aiming to learn in English 1301. As well as just some information about our specific online environment and what you need. Of course, computer with, very reliable internet access. You need to make sure you have an internet browser. I've listed all of these here, but y'all, please use Chrome. It's the one that works best with D2L because D2L is just very finicky. You want to make sure that you have access to Microsoft Office, and so you can click here to go to the OTS website where you can download your free version here. Okay, so if you watched the previous video, which I hope you have, then you are familiar with that. Okay, let me go back. All right, so just some information to consider about the things you should be familiar with and comfortable with in terms of technological and digital skills. This also has login information and links. So again, make sure that you're taking some time to bookmark those addresses. If you want the Pulse app, you can download that, but remember, it's just not going to be quite as functional as logging in with your web browser. You need to make sure that you've completed the online student orientation or you won't be able to proceed with our online course. And then also know about the Virtual Learning Assistance Center. This is if you have some specific D2L or just general questions about learning, this is just your go-to. This has so much great information. If you have a question about how to upload an assignment, all of this is here. Of course, I have a lot of those resources in our D2L course area, but just another good site to bookmark if you can. All right, here is a link to our course text. It is a digital version of the text. You can, of course, purchase the print version. The digital one is just easy to move through and it's more affordable, but I understand that sometimes we want those print versions. I'm definitely one of those people. All right, this is how our course is broken down in terms of grades. You'll see that pretty much 50% or 500 points. We are going to work on a points scheme in our grade book. 50% of that is going to be just kind of your weekly participation, and that's going to include assignments like mind maps and quizzes, discussion posts, a course reflection. I try to say this, and I don't think enough students take me seriously. I feel like 99% of a college course, especially online, is just following instructions and keeping up with the weekly work, because it can start to really get away from us. So make sure you have a plan about how to complete your work, especially in a course that is just so condensed like ours is over the summer. For writing assignments, we specifically have written responses, which are going to be 150 points, and then you'll have a final and revised written response submission that's 150 points. All of these with asterisks will have, their separate handouts and a video when we start to do that kind of work, so don't worry about that just yet. And then we have a final multimedia project, which is just a fun way for us to end our summer session, and it gives you a chance to be somewhat creative. All right, and if you're a visual person, you'll see that this isn't updated to show the 50%. I was tinkering with percentages, so I will update that. Sorry about that. And here is just a really quick kind of guide about what these different assignments are. But again, many of them will come with their own rubrics and their own videos where I walk through some of those specific guidelines. Here's how the letter grades are broken down. Attendance and participation. This is just one of those, if you are familiar with online courses, you know that being present in that class on a regular basis is so important, right? Like I said, the weekly assignments are really, they can feel very tedious in a course like this. Not all courses have these kinds of requirements. If you have a biology or math class, sometimes it's just kind of an exam and some quizzes, that kind of setup. But with writing, it's a lot more just kind of weekly work, so make sure that you are logging in. I have looked back over several semesters, and the people who are the most successful in terms of grades are the people who log in regularly, not just once or twice a week, but sometimes every day, just to kind of see and make sure that they're, moving in the right direction. All right. So there's some, just kind of information we have to include in our syllabus about, you being a student and what your rights are. If you have course concerns or questions, make sure that you're noting that there is a Q&A discussion area of D2L. It's great for you to ask questions there, because if you have a question about something, there is a good chance that another student, one of your colleagues, is going to have that exact same question. So if we have those all in one place and easily accessible, then that just helps everybody. So if you know the answer to somebody else's questions, you can absolutely jump in there and help that person out. I try to get in there very regularly to answer questions, but I love it when students feel confident and can help one another. If you have something a bit more specific, then of course you can email me, or we can meet to talk those things out. There's also a student-only chat area, and I don't visit that area. I can't. So this is just a place for you to form connections, if you want to group chat, if you want to do that kind of thing, ask each other questions, or just get to know people, because in an online course that can be kind of hard, right? So the student-only area is for you. I don't accept late work, I say, but at the same time, for those major uploaded assignments, there is a 48-hour grace period, and that will not come with any kind of negative impact on your grade. It's just, so say we have something that's due on Sunday. Sunday is our regular due date by 11:59 p.m. If you have a family emergency, or you have something that's going on and you can't submit it on Sunday, you will have 2 days to turn that in beyond Sunday. Now, I don't want you to start thinking about essentially Tuesday being your due dates. That's just there if you absolutely need it, because by Tuesday we have moved into the next week. You are behind if you're submitting then, but it's there if you need it. Make sure that all of your uploaded work follows MLA format, which is something we will kind of learn about as we go through this summer session. When we're interacting with one another, especially in an online environment, we really need to approach everything with just the utmost respect. Understand that we are a diverse community. We have lots of people from various backgrounds and identities. Those need to be respected. And part of that is understanding that when you're typing something on a screen, The other person cannot see your face, hear your tone of voice, get any of your body language to kind of understand, are you joking? Are you being sarcastic? Are you being mean? That kind of thing. So you need to make sure that you are really considering the work that you are doing and the tone and the voice, when it comes to exchanging ideas and interactions. So just make sure you're keeping that in mind. If there are any inappropriate discussions or anything that is shared, please make sure you're letting me know and I will handle that immediately. That's not something I want in our class. I want our class to be a space where we feel comfortable. Okay, and that's why we also have some notes about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's going straight back to respect, right? There is a section on plagiarism, which by this point in college, we should know, even if we're brand new to college, plagiarism is something that we should be familiar with. But if you're not, or if you need a refresher, click on this link here. I deal with plagiarism every semester. I'm shaking my head right now. You can't see me. It's frustrating for me. It's also frustrating for a lot of students because a lot of times it's just not something that's done intentionally and maliciously by the student. It's just a matter of not understanding that what they are doing is considered plagiarism. The more you know, the better off you will be. And understand that we are also dealing with AI composed issues. I dealt with quite a few of those last semester, which led to some failing grades, unfortunately. So just make sure make sure you're doing what you need to do. Even if you feel pressured and are working at the last minute to get something submitted, just submit your own work, submit your own writing. I would much prefer something that's not super polished or super finished versus something that is essentially not your work, right? Because then I have to have the discussion with you. I want to have good discussions with y'all, not these kinds of discussions. So make sure that you're keeping those things in mind. We turn everything in with Turnitin, which is there to detect plagiarism, but also now detects artificial writing, right? So just make sure you're keeping that in mind. We do have a lot of support services. So again, there's just a lot of information in this document that is a quick reference for you if you want to talk about advisors or counselors, disability services, if you're thinking about, getting connected with them for some accommodations, the library, any of those things, it's all right here, as well as all of our policies in terms of Lone Star College as a whole. So you have the 6-drop rule. That's something that a lot of students have questions about. The student code of conduct, which is also really important. So just make sure that you are taking some time to look through all of this information. It's a lot. It's overwhelming. So take your time, take a break, and then jump into the next video for our summer session when you're able. I'll see you there.